The stars were quiet that night. Too quiet, Captain Jinwoo thought. He stood on the roof of the military base looking up at the clear sky. For weeks, strange signals had been detected coming from beyond the moon. Today, they would finally learn what those signals meant. Jinwoo was not a tall man, but his eyes held a strength that made even generals listen when he spoke. At 35, he had seen enough war on Earth to know its cost. But he also knew that sometimes, fighting was the only way to stay free. "Captain, they're coming." Lieutenant Yuna's voice came through his earpiece. "Our satellites show they will land in 10 minutes. Jinwoo nodded, though no one could see him. "I'll be right down." As he walked to the elevator, Jinwoo thought about how strange life was. Just 5 years ago, humans had been fighting each other over land and resources. Now they might face something much bigger than their old fights. Inside the main building, 50 of Earth's best soldiers waited. They wore the new armor made from steel and a strange metal found in a crashed object 3 years ago. Their weapons looked simple, but each gun held power that would have seemed like magic to people just 10 years earlier. "Remember," Jinwoo told them, "we show strength, not fear. We show respect, but not weakness. These visitors must understand that Earth is not easy to take." The soldiers stood straight. They knew what was at stake. "Captain," Yuna said, handing him a tablet, "the president is on the line." President Hyun's face appeared on the screen. Her hair was perfectly straight, her eyes calm despite the huge weight on her shoulders. "Captain Jinwoo," she said, "today you speak for all humans. We don't know if these aliens come as friends or enemies. Trust your gut. If things go bad, you have permission to do what needs to be done." "Yes, Madam President," Jinwoo replied, his face not showing the heavy feeling in his chest. The ground shook slightly. Outside, a bright light cut through the night sky. "They're here," Yuna said, her hand resting on her gun. The alien ship was not huge, about the size of a small airplane. It was smooth and silver, with no visible engines or windows. It made no sound as it landed in the open area in front of the base. Jinwoo and his team walked out to meet the visitors. They stood in a line, weapons ready but pointed down. For 3 long minutes, nothing happened. Then, a door appeared in the side of the ship where there had been no door before. Light poured out so bright that the humans had to cover their eyes. 3 figures walked out. They looked almost human, but their skin had a slight blue color, and their eyes were too large. They wore simple white clothes with strange symbols on the chest. The one in the middle stepped forward. He was tall and thin, with white hair despite looking young. "I am Commander Han of the Galactic Concord," he said in perfect Korean, though his mouth moved strangely with the words. "We come with peace and gifts for the people of Earth." Jinwoo stepped forward. "I am Captain Jinwoo of Earth's United Defense Force. We welcome you to our planet." Han smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. "We have watched your world for some time. Your species has great potential. The Concord wishes to welcome you into our family of worlds." "That is good to hear," Jinwoo said carefully. "We have many questions." "Of course, this is Ju, our culture expert," Han said, pointing to a female-looking alien on his left. "And this is Day, our language expert," he added, pointing to the right. Ju stepped forward. "We have studied your many cultures with great interest. Your art, your music, your ways of living, all will add richness to the Concord." Day nodded. "Your languages are young but full of life. I have enjoyed learning them." Something in their words made Jinwoo uneasy. They spoke as if humans were interesting pets, not equals. "Perhaps we should talk inside," Jinwoo suggested, pointing to the base. Inside a large meeting room, Han explained the Concord, a group of over 500 alien species who had lived in peace for thousands of years. They had rules, technology, and a way of life that had ended war across many star systems. "We offer Earth a place in this peace," Han said, his voice smooth. "We will give you technology that will end disease, hunger, and your energy problems." Jinwoo leaned forward. "That sounds generous. What does Earth give in return?" Han's smile became wider. "Not much. Some of your people would work on other worlds. We would need some of your planet's special metals and minerals. A fair trade, I think. Lieutenant Yuna, sitting next to Jinwoo, shifted in her seat. Her face stayed calm, but Jinwoo knew her well, enough to see she was angry. How many people? Jinwoo asked. How much of our resources? Han waved his long blue hand. Details can be worked out later. The important thing is that Earth joins the conquered willingly. Those who join willingly get better terms than those who must be convinced. The threat was clear, even if the words were soft. Let me understand this correctly, Jinwoo said, his voice calm though his heart beat faster. You want our people, as workers and our planet's resources in exchange for technology. We're already starting to develop ourselves. It is how all species join the conquered, Han explained, like a teacher to a slow student. A fair exchange that benefits all. We call that colonization on Earth, Jinwoo replied, and humanity has a long, bloody history of fighting colonizers. The room went quiet. Ju and Day looked at each other, surprise on their blue faces. Captain, Han said, his voice colder now, perhaps you do not understand. The Concord includes over 500 species with technology far beyond yours. Your planet has one choice. Join willingly or be made to join. There is no third option. Jinwoo stood up slowly. The other humans in the room put their hands on their weapons. There is always another option, Jinwoo said. We choose our own path. We always have. Han looked shocked. No species has ever refused the Concord's offer. It would be unwise. Then we will be the first, Jinwoo said. Humanity does not serve. We do not give up our freedom or our people, even for great gifts. Han stood up too, his face now angry. Your weapons are toys compared to ours. Your ships can barely reach your own moon. If you choose to fight, you will lose everything. Jinwoo smiled, but there was no happiness in it. Perhaps, he said, you should study our history more carefully before making threats. Humans rarely win because we are stronger. We win because we refuse to lose. Han stared at Jinwoo for a long moment. Then he turned to leave. You have 1 Earth year to change your mind, Captain. After that, we will help you understand the benefits of cooperation. After the aliens left, Yuna turned to Jinwoo. You know, we just started a war we might not be able to win. Jinwoo nodded. Yes, but it's better than starting a peace we would never be free in. As the alien ship rose into the night sky, Jinwoo made a call to President Hyun. Madam President, he said, we have 1 year to prepare for war. The aliens wanted slaves and resources, not friends. Then we have no choice, President Hyun replied, her voice firm. Alert all nations. Starting today, Earth is at war. Jinwoo looked up at the stars again. They didn't seem quiet anymore. They seemed like a threat, full of enemies waiting to come down and take everything humans had built. But humans had faced impossible odds before. They had fought when they should have lost. They had survived when they should have died. The galaxy would watch in terror as humanity chose war over words, because some words, like surrender, were not in humanity's language. The news spread fast. Within 24 hours, every leader on Earth knew about the aliens. Within 48 hours, most people on the planet had heard that Earth was not alone in the universe. Captain Jinwoo stood in the big meeting room in Seoul where world leaders had gathered. Some were there in person, others on large screens. All looked worried. You told them no? Asked the Russian president, his thick eyebrows pulled together in a frown. Without asking the rest of us? President Hyun stepped forward. Captain Jinwoo made the only choice he could. The aliens wanted our people as workers and our resources as payment. They called it joining their conquered. We call it slavery. The room went quiet. Even those who had been angry seemed to understand now. We have 1 year, Jinwoo said. 1 year to prepare for a war against enemies with technology far beyond our own. Then we should give up now, said a man in an expensive suit. We cannot win such a fight. Admiral Yuna stepped forward. She was small but strong, with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. As head of Earth's Space Force, she knew more about the dangers above than almost anyone. "We don't need to win," she said. "We just need to make the cost of beating us too high." Throughout history, smaller forces have beaten larger ones by being smarter, more determined, and willing to do what the enemy thinks is impossible. She turned to Jinwoo. "Tell them what you learned about these aliens." Jinwoo nodded. "The Galactic Concord has not fought a real war in thousands of years. They add new species to their group by offering technology in exchange for workers and resources. Those who say yes get better terms. Those who say no face their military. But here's the important part," he continued. "They don't expect real resistance. They follow strict rules in battle. They aim to cause as little harm as possible while still winning." "And why is that important?" asked a leader from Africa. "Because," Admiral Yuna said with a small smile, "it means they will hold back. They will try to be nice while they attack us. And in war, holding back can be a fatal mistake." President Hyun stood up. She looked at every face in the room, one by one. "Today we must decide, do we stand together against this threat, or do we surrender Earth to become workers for alien masters?" The vote was unanimous. Earth would fight. After the meeting, Jinwoo walked with Admiral Yuna down a long hallway. "That went better than I expected," he said. Yuna nodded. "Fear is a great unifier. For the first time in history, all humans face the same enemy. But we need more than unity. We need a plan." She led him into a small room where a woman was working on a computer. The woman didn't look up when they entered. Her fingers moved fast over the keyboard while 6 screens showed different designs for what looked like weapons. "Dr. Sunwoo," Admiral Yuna said loudly. The woman looked up, surprised. Her round glasses had slipped down her nose, and her black hair was tied back in a messy way. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Oh, Admiral, I didn't hear you come in. Is this the captain who met the aliens?" Jinwoo nodded. "Captain Jinwoo. And you are?" "Dr. Sunwoo. I study new technology." "Right. Now I'm trying to understand how the aliens' ships work based on the energy readings we got when they landed." She pointed to one of her screens. "Their technology is based on efficiency. Everything they do uses the least amount of energy possible. It's beautiful, really." "And how does that help us?" Jinwoo asked. Dr. Sunwoo smiled. It changed her tired face, making her look younger and almost playful. "Because efficiency creates patterns. Patterns can be predicted, and what can be predicted can be beaten." For the next 6 months, Earth changed in ways no one thought possible. Old enemies worked together. Resources once used for fighting each other now went to building defenses. Every scientist, engineer, and soldier focused on one goal: preparing for the alien attack. Dr. Sunwoo led the biggest science team ever formed. They studied the signals from the alien ship and the pictures taken during the meeting. They made new weapons designed to work against the aliens' technology. "Their ships use energy fields that block most attacks," she explained to Jinwoo during one meeting. "But these fields are made to stop energy weapons, not physical ones." She showed him a design for a new type of weapon. "We are building mass drivers on the moon. They will shoot large metal pieces at very high speeds. The aliens won't expect such simple weapons, and their shields may not stop them." Jinwoo was impressed. "What else?" "EMP weapons," she said. "The aliens' technology uses very specific energy patterns. We can make pulses that will target those patterns and shut down their systems." While Dr. Sunwoo worked on weapons, Admiral Yuna trained Earth's first real space fighters. Using what they learned from the aliens' visit, they built ships that could fly in space and carry weapons. "The pilots must be ready to make big sacrifices," Yuna told Jinwoo as they watched the training. "Our ships aren't as good as theirs. We can only win by doing things they don't expect." "Will it be enough?" Jinwoo asked. Yuna didn't answer right away. She watched as the pilots ran to their ships for another practice run. "I don't know," she finally said. "But I do know this. Humans have always been good at finding ways to win when we should lose." Meanwhile, deep in space, the Galactic Concord was in shock. Council Speaker Taiho had called an emergency meeting after hearing Commander Han's report. They refused? Tieho asked, his blue face showing disbelief. No species has ever refused to join the conquered. Han nodded. These humans are strange. They know they cannot win against us, yet they choose to fight rather than accept our generous offer. Tieho looked at the other council members. Is the human response force ready? A tall alien with green skin stood up. Admiral Biom's fleet is prepared. 20 warships, enough to control the entire system. We will teach these humans the cost of defiance. Remember, Tieho said, we want the planet and its resources intact. Use minimum force. When the meeting ended, Commander Han walked with Day, the language expert who had been with him on Earth. What do you think about these humans? Han asked. Day thought before answering. They value freedom above safety. It makes no logical sense, but it seems to be at the core of who they are. Han shook his head. It will get them killed. No species can stand against the Concord. Perhaps, Day said quietly, but I wonder if we are underestimating them. Did you notice how their captain looked when you threatened them? He wasn't afraid. He was ready. Back on Earth, Captain Jinwoo stood on the roof of the military base looking at the stars just as he had done the night the aliens first came. The sky looked different to him now. What once seemed like peaceful lights now felt like eyes watching, waiting. Lieutenant Yuna joined him. The latest report from Dr. Sunwoo, she said, handing him a tablet. The moon base is ready, the mass drivers are in place. Jinwoo nodded. And the underground shelters? 60% of the world's population can be protected. The rest will have to take their chances. Jinwoo looked at the tablet, then back at the stars. 6 months gone, 6 months left. Yuna followed his gaze upward. Do you think we have a chance, Captain? I think, Jinwoo said slowly, that the galaxy is about to learn something important about humans. What's that? That we don't know how to give up, even when we should. As they stood there, a shooting star crossed the sky. But it wasn't a star. It was a scout ship from the Concord, coming to check on Earth's preparations. The war was coming, and Earth would be ready. The year passed faster than anyone wanted. Earth had changed in that time. Cities now had giant shields over them. The moon, once empty, now held weapons and fighters ready for battle. Every country had built deep shelters underground where people could hide when the attack came. Admiral Biom stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the blue planet on the main screen. Earth looked peaceful from space. It was hard to believe its people had chosen war over the gift of joining the conquered. All ships report ready, Admiral, said his second-in-command. Biom nodded. He had 20 warships, each bigger than anything humans had ever built. Each ship could destroy a city with one shot. It seemed almost unfair to use such power against a planet that had barely reached its own moon. Send the final warning, Biom ordered. On Earth, the message appeared on all screens in every command center. This is Admiral Biom of the Galactic Concord Defense Fleet. Your time has ended. Surrender now, and your species will be treated with mercy. In the Seoul Command Center, Captain Jinwoo, now Colonel Jinwoo, read the message with a calm face. Next to him, President Hyun and Admiral Yuna watched the screens showing the alien ships moving closer to Earth. They're following the exact pattern Dr. Sunwoo predicted, Admiral Yuna said. They're forming a line above the major cities. President Hyun took a deep breath. Then it's time. Colonel Jinwoo, you have permission to launch Operation Thunderbolt. Jinwoo picked up a secure phone. Dr. Sunwoo, are you ready? On the other end, Dr. Sunwoo sat in the hidden base under the mountains. For a year, she had worked with almost no sleep to create weapons that might give Earth a chance. Ready, Colonel, she replied. The EMP satellites are in position. The aliens don't appear to have noticed them. Begin the countdown, Jinwoo ordered. Across Earth, people waited in fear. Some were in the underground shelters. Others watched the sky, hoping to see what would happen. Most had never seen an alien, but everyone knew what today meant. Earth's freedom hung in the balance. In space, Admiral Biom was growing impatient. No response to our warning. Prepare to target their military bases first. Remember, minimum damage to civilian areas. His weapons officer was about to reply when alarms started blaring across the bridge. Admiral, energy spike detected. Multiple locations around the planet. Biom started to give an order, but it was too late. Dr. Sunwoo's first creation was already working. Small satellites that had been hidden in orbit suddenly lit up with blue light. They sent out electromagnetic pulses designed specifically to attack the frequencies used by conquered technology. On 5 of the alien ships, everything went dark. Their elegant systems, built for perfect efficiency, had no defense against this crude but effective attack. Impossible, Admiral Biom whispered, as his flagship's backup systems struggled to keep working. Their technology shouldn't be able to affect our ships like this. Before the remaining ships could recover, Earth launched its second attack. From bases on the moon, huge cannons fired. They shot massive metal pieces at incredible speeds toward the alien fleet. These simple weapons, just big chunks of metal moving very fast, were not what the Concorde expected. The aliens' shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not physical objects moving at such speeds. 3 more ships were hit directly. They didn't explode in a big fire like in movies. Instead, the metal pieces went right through them, leaving large holes. Space is silent, so there was no sound as the ships broke apart and their crews died. Admiral Biom was in shock. In less than 5 minutes, he had lost 8 ships. No enemy had ever done such damage to a conquered fleet. "Scatter the fleet," he ordered. "Move away from their firing range." As the remaining ships tried to regroup, Admiral Yuna gave her order. From Earth's command center, launch the fighters. From hidden bases on the moon, Earth's first space fighters took off. They looked small and simple compared to the alien ships, but they had been built with one purpose: to attack the conquered, where they were weakest. The pilots had trained for a year in simulators based on how the aliens fought. They knew the conquered followed strict patterns in battle, making the same moves over and over. This made them predictable. When the fighters reached the alien fleet, they did something the conquered pilots had never seen before. Instead of trying to stay safe, the human pilots flew directly at the enemy ships. Some crashed their fighters into key parts of the alien vessels, sacrificing themselves to cause critical damage. "What are they doing?" a Concorde captain asked as he watched human fighters aim for his ship's engines. "This is suicide." What the aliens saw as madness was, to humans, necessary sacrifice. Throughout history, soldiers had given their lives to protect their homes and families. Today was no different, except the battlefield was the space around Earth. In the Sol Command Center, Admiral Yuna watched as the dots on her screen, each one a brave pilot, disappeared one by one. But for each fighter lost, an alien ship was damaged or destroyed. "They're retreating," she said, her voice quiet with both sadness and pride. It was true. Admiral Biom had ordered what was left of his fleet to pull back. Of his 20 ships, only 7 were still working well enough to fly away. "This is not possible," he said, looking at the damage reports. "No species has ever done this much damage to a Concorde fleet." His second-in-command looked afraid. "What do we tell the Council?" Biom's face was grim. "The truth. The humans are not like other species we have faced. They fight differently. On Earth, people came out of the shelters to look at the sky. They couldn't see the battle that had happened far above them, but news spread quickly. Earth had won the first round. In the command center, Colonel Jinwoo, President Hyun, and Admiral Yuna were not celebrating. They knew this was just the beginning. "We hurt them," Jinwoo said, looking at the screens showing the alien fleet moving away from Earth. "But they'll be back with more ships." "How much time do you think we have?" President Hyun asked. Admiral Yuna thought for a moment. "A few months, maybe. They'll need to report what happened and get a bigger fleet ready. Then we have work to do," President Hyun said. "Dr. Sunwoo's team needs to study the wrecked alien ships. We need better weapons, better shields." Jinwoo nodded. and we need to understand them better. Know how they think, what they'll do next. The others left to start working on the next phase of Earth's defense. Jinwoo stayed behind, looking at the screen showing the stars. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was watching, probably in shock. A small young species had bloodied the nose of the undefeated Concord, but Jinwoo felt no joy in this victory. Too many had died today, and many more would die before this war was over. Still, for the first time, he felt real hope. Humans had proven what he always believed. When fighting for their freedom, there was nothing they couldn't do. The Conquered had made a big mistake. They had given humans a choice between comfortable slavery or dangerous freedom, and humans, as they always had throughout their bloody history, chose freedom. The news of Admiral Bium's defeat spread quickly through the galactic Conquered. For the first time in 10,000 years, a conquered fleet had been beaten by a species that was not even supposed to have space weapons yet. In the great meeting hall of the Galactic Council, voices were raised in anger and fear. "This cannot be allowed to stand," shouted one council member, his red skin darkening with emotion. "If other species hear about this, they might think they can resist us too." Council. Speaker Taeho raised his hand for quiet. As the oldest and wisest of the Concord leaders, his word was law. "We have underestimated these humans," he said, his voice deep and slow. "That was a mistake we will not make again." Councillor Minji stood up. Unlike most council members, she had studied human history carefully after first contact. "We should try to talk with them again," she suggested. "These humans value their freedom above all else. Perhaps we can find a way to welcome them into the Conquered while respecting that value." The room filled with angry voices again. Most council members saw the humans' resistance as an insult that must be punished. "The time for talk is over," declared a tall councillor. "We must show the galaxy what happens to those who defy the Conquered." Taeho nodded slowly. "Councillor Minji's advice is noted, but the council has decided. Admiral Bium's failure will be corrected. Grand Admiral Junho, step forward." From the shadows at the edge of the room, a figure moved into the light. Grand Admiral Junho was the most famous military leader in the Conquered's history. His skin was dark blue, almost black, and his eyes held a coldness that made even other Conquered members uncomfortable. "I will lead the 7th Fleet to Earth," he said. 200 warships. The humans will surrender or be destroyed." As the massive fleet began to gather, Earth was busy preparing for the next attack. Colonel Jinwoo led teams to study the wrecked alien ships that had crashed on Earth and the Moon. During one mission to an alien outpost on Mars, Jinwoo's team found something unexpected: a living alien. It was Communications Officer Day, who had been part of the original meeting on Earth. Instead of killing him, Jinwoo had Day brought back to Earth as a prisoner, but Day was not treated cruelly. He was given a comfortable room and good food. "Why, am I still alive?" Day asked when Jinwoo came to speak with him. "I expected your people to torture me for information or kill me for revenge." "That's not who we are," Jinwoo replied. "We're fighting because we want to be free, not because we enjoy hurting others." Over many weeks, Jinwoo and Day talked for hours. Jinwoo learned much about the Conquered, how it worked, its strengths and its weaknesses. "Your people have never faced an enemy like us, have they?" Jinwoo asked one day. Day shook his head. "The Conquered has not fought a real war in thousands of years. Most species see the size of our fleets and surrender right away." "Why do you fight when you know you cannot win?" Day asked later, truly curious. "Because submission isn't victory," Jinwoo answered. "Your Conquered offers peace through control. We'd rather have war with the chance of true freedom." As they talked, Day began to see humans differently. He had been taught that humans were just another primitive species to be added to the Conquered. Now he was not so sure. Meanwhile, Dr. Sunwoo and her team were working on their most important project yet, Project Thunderbolt. Using parts from the damaged alien ships, they were trying to create Earth's first faster-than-light drive and weapons that could match alien technology. "If we can make this work," Dr. Sunwoo told Admiral Yuna, "we might be able to take the fight to them instead of just defending Earth." The work was hard and progress was slow. The alien technology was far beyond human understanding. But Dr. Sunwoo was determined. She worked day and night, sleeping only when she could no longer keep her eyes open. One day, an assistant found her asleep at her desk, still holding a piece of alien technology. The assistant was about to wake her when the alarm sounded. The long-range sensors had detected something. In the Seoul Command Center, Colonel Jinwoo looked at the screen with a grim face. The dots of light representing ships were too many to count. "How many?" President Hyun asked, her voice steady despite the fear everyone felt. "At least 200 ships," Admiral Yuna answered. "Much bigger than the First Fleet." President Hyun turned to Dr. Sunwoo, who had rushed to the command center after being woken up. "Is Project Thunderbolt ready?" Dr. Sunwoo looked down. "No, Madam President. We need more time." "Time is something we don't have," Jinwoo said. "The fleet will reach Earth in 3 days." As the room fell silent, Day, who had been allowed to join the meetings as an advisor, spoke up. "There might be another way." All eyes turned to him. Many still didn't trust the alien, but Jinwoo had vouched for him. "What do you mean?" Jinwoo asked. "The fleet is led by Grand Admiral Junho," Day explained. "He is the most decorated military leader in the Concord, but he follows the same patterns as all Concord commanders. He will place his flagship at the center of the fleet, protected by the other ships." "How does that help us?" Admiral Yuna asked. "If you could reach his ship, disable or capture it, the rest of the fleet would be thrown into confusion. The Concord hasn't fought a real war in so long that they don't know how to adapt when things go wrong." Jinwoo thought for a moment. "A small team might be able to get through their lines if they're not expecting it." "It would be a suicide mission," Admiral Yuna said. "Even with the technology we've adapted from their ships, we can't match their speed or power." Jinwoo nodded. "I know. But it might be our only chance to buy more time for Project Thunderbolt." President Hyun looked at each person in the room before speaking. "Prepare our defenses as best we can. And Colonel Jinwoo, if you wish to lead this mission to the enemy flagship, you have my permission." As the meeting ended, Dr. Sunwoo caught up to Jinwoo in the hallway. "You know this is probably a one-way trip, right?" Jinwoo nodded. "Some journeys are worth taking even if you don't come back." Dr. Sunwoo handed him a small device. "Take this. It's not finished, but it might help. It's a scanner that can copy data from their systems. If you can get to their main computer, use it. The information might help us complete Project Thunderbolt." In Seoul, the days that followed, Earth prepared as best it could. The shelters were filled with people. The weapons that had worked against the First Fleet were made ready again, though everyone knew they would not be enough against so many ships. Jinwoo chose his team carefully. 6 of Earth's best soldiers, including Lieutenant Yuna, plus Day, who would help them navigate the alien ship. On the night before they would leave, Jinwoo stood on the roof of the military base one last time, looking at the stars. "Thinking about tomorrow?" Admiral Yuna asked, joining him. "Thinking about what we're fighting for," Jinwoo replied. "Freedom is a strange thing. You don't really notice it until someone tries to take it away." Admiral Yuna put her hand on his shoulder. "The shuttle is ready. Your team should get some rest." As she turned to leave, Jinwoo spoke again. "If we don't come back—" "You will," she interrupted, "and you'll find that we're still fighting. Humans don't give up, remember?" Jinwoo smiled slightly. "Even when we should." The next day, as Grand Admiral Junho's fleet approached Earth, a small, fast shuttle slipped past their outer line of ships. Inside, Colonel Jinwoo and his team prepared for what might be humanity's last desperate act of defiance. The galaxy watched, holding its breath. No species had ever tried something so bold or so hopeless against the mighty Concord fleet. Grand Admiral Junho stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, looking at the blue planet on his screen. Earth looked so small, so peaceful. It was hard to believe its people had managed to defeat Admiral Biom's fleet. "All ships are in position, Grand Admiral," reported his second-in-command. "The humans have activated their defenses, but they cannot stop a fleet this size." Junho nodded. his dark blue face showing no emotion. In his long life, he had led many missions to bring new species into the Concord. None had ever caused this much trouble. "Begin the attack," he ordered. "Target their weapon bases on the moon first." As the Concord ships moved forward, they did not notice the small human shuttle that had slipped through their lines. The shuttle was using technology taken from the wrecked alien ships to hide from the Concord's sensors. Inside the shuttle, Colonel Jinwoo checked his team's equipment one last time. Lieutenant Yuna, 5 other soldiers, and Day were ready. Each wore armor made from Concord materials and carried weapons that mixed human and alien technology. "Remember the plan," Jinwoo said. "We dock with the flagship, find the main computer, and use Dr. Sunwoo's device to copy their data. Then we try to disable the ship if possible." "And if we're caught?" one soldier asked. Jinwoo's face was serious. "Then we make sure they remember us." Day looked nervous. He had never thought he would help humans fight against his own people, but after months on Earth seeing how humans lived and what they were fighting for, he knew he was doing the right thing. "We're approaching the flagship," Yuna reported. "Their shields are down in Section 7, just as Day said they would be." The shuttle slipped through the small gap in the shields and landed in a service area meant for small repair ships. No one saw them arrive. Using Day's knowledge, they moved through the huge ship, avoiding patrols. The Concord crew never expected enemies to be inside their ship, so security was light. Meanwhile, the battle for Earth had begun. The Concord ships fired on the moon bases, destroying many of the weapons that had helped win the first battle. Earth's remaining fighters launched, but they were too few against so many enemy ships. In the Seoul Command Center, Admiral Yuna watched as humanity's defenses slowly failed. "The moon bases are gone," an officer reported. "Our EMP satellites are being destroyed one by one." President Hyun stood tall, her face showing no fear, though the situation looked hopeless. "Has there been any word from Colonel Jinwoo's team?" "Nothing. Yet, Madam President." Dr. Sunwoo rushed into the room, her eyes wide with excitement despite the grim news. "Project Thunderbolt, we've had a breakthrough." "What kind of breakthrough?" Admiral Yuna asked. "We can't build faster than light drives yet, but we've figured out how to make the most powerful communication array ever built. If we can get data from the Concord's main systems, we might be able to send a message to every corner of the galaxy." "But what good is a message if we're all dead?" someone asked. Dr. Sunwoo smiled. "That depends on what the message says." On the Concord flagship, Jinwoo's team had reached the central computer room. 2 guards stood at the door. "I'll handle this," Day said. He walked forward, speaking in the Concord language. The guards looked surprised to see one of their own people with humans. While they were confused, Jinwoo and Yuna moved quickly, taking down the guards without killing them. Inside the computer room, Day went to work. His hands moved fast over the controls while Jinwoo kept watch at the door. "How much longer?" Jinwoo asked. "Almost there," Day replied. "Their system is huge. I'm searching for—" He stopped suddenly, his blue face going pale. "What is it?" Jinwoo moved to look at the screen. "This can't be right," Day whispered. "It changes everything." What they had found was the Concord's most closely guarded secret. The true history of the galactic civilization. The Concord hadn't evolved beyond warfare through wisdom or choice. They had been engineered to be obedient by the original founding species, the long-vanished architects. For thousands of years, the Concord had been unknowingly following a program, adding new species to their group and taking their resources. All of it fed an ancient plan that even the highest council members didn't know about. "They're not evil," Day said, his voice shaking. We just don't know what we're really doing." Jinwoo used Dr. Sunwoo's device to copy all the data. "Can you download the location of every Concord ship in Base 2? Day nodded, still in shock from what he had learned. Just then, alarms began to sound. They had been discovered. "Time to go," Jinwoo ordered. But as they turned to leave, the door opened. Grand Admiral Junho stood there with 10 armed guards. "I was told we had intruders," Junho said, his cold eyes studying the humans. "I did not expect to find traitors as well." He looked at Day with disgust. "It's not what you think, Grand Admiral. Day said quickly. You need to see what we found. The conquered has been lied to for thousands of years. Junho laughed. A weak attempt to save yourself, Jinwoo stepped forward. Let my team go and I'll stay as your prisoner. Junho considered this for a moment. Very noble, but he never finished. Yuna had been slowly reaching for a device on her belt. Now she threw it to the floor. A bright flash filled the room, blinding everyone for a few seconds. In the confusion, Jinwoo's team fought back. They stunned several guards, but more were coming. They would never make it back to their shuttle. Get to the shuttle, Jinwoo shouted to Yuna. Take D and the data. We'll hold them off. Yuna didn't want to leave him. But she knew the mission was more important than any one person. She grabbed Day and the data device and they ran. Jinwoo and the other soldiers formed a line in the hallway, fighting to give Yuna and Day time to escape. On Earth, the situation was desperate. Half of Earth's defenses were gone. The conquered. Ships were moving closer, ready to force humanity to surrender. Then a small shuttle burst out of Grand Admiral Junho's flagship, racing toward Earth at top speed. Concord ships fired at it, but somehow it dodged every shot. In the Seoul Command Center, a message came through. This is Lieutenant Yuna. We have the data and are coming in hot. Hope filled the room, but there was little time. The Concord ships were almost in position to begin their final attack. When Yuna's shuttle landed, she and Day ran to the command center. Dr. Sunwoo took the data device and quickly connected it to her systems. Project Thunderbolt is ready, she said. With this data, we can send a message to every conquered ship and base in the galaxy. What message? President Hyun asked. Day stepped forward. The truth. That the conquered has been manipulated for thousands of years. That the way they add new species to their group is part of an ancient plan they don't even know about. President Hyun nodded. Do it. Dr. Sunwoo activated Project Thunderbolt, the giant communication array built from a mix of human and alien technology, powered up. It sent the truth to every corner of the galaxy. On the conquered ships, confusion spread as crews saw the ancient files that had been hidden for so long. Even Grand Admiral Junho, who had captured Jinwoo, stopped to watch the images appearing on his screens. Is this true? He asked, turning to Jinwoo. Day found it in your own system, Jinwoo replied. Your people have been used just like you wanted to use us. For the first time in his long life, Grand Admiral Junho looked uncertain. He stared at the screen for a long moment, then made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. All ships, stand down, he ordered. The attack is cancelled. In the days that followed, the conquered changed. Many member species joined with humanity in demanding a new way forward. The old system of forcing new species to join was ended. A new galactic alliance began to form, one based on true cooperation, not control. At the first meeting of this new alliance, Jinwoo, who had been released by Grand Admiral Junho, stood beside Day and the other leaders. We chose war over words, Jinwoo told the gathered representatives. Not because we love fighting, but because we knew that real talking is only possible when both sides are equal. Sometimes you must be willing to fight for the right to speak, as equals. The galaxy had indeed watched in terror as humanity chose war, but now they watched in hope as humans helped create a new age of real peace among the stars.